Hey guys, it's Nick from Nick's Taxes. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to switch gears from taxes to personal finance. And in today's video, we're going to talk about our 4 steps to financial freedom and how to generate wealth. Before I get into it, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I currently just reached the 100 subscriber milestone, so thank you so much for all those who have subscribed. I really appreciate it. For all those who subscribed at the very beginning, you know who you are, I know who you are. Thank you so much for the encouragement and all the help that you've given me. And so I am now on a quest to reach another 100 subscribers. So please, if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. We're going to be talking about some personal finance tips, and I'm going to be trying to put out a lot of videos in this next little bit to kind of cover personal finance with a millennial focus or a young person's focus, and we're going to try to be wise with our money. And so this video is going to be the first of a few personal finance videos. If you have any questions or topics that you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments below, and I will definitely consider making a video about it. So let's jump right in. Today's video is going to be about how to build wealth and how to kind of set yourself on the right track towards financial freedom. And the reason why I wanted to create this video is because a lot of us young people, we have these really high, lofty goals with what we want to do with our lives, with our money. Yet a lot of us don't really have any idea of what we're doing with our money, how we're spending it, and definitely our financials don't really fit our goals. So in order to kind of meet these expectations that we have, our financials need to match our dreams. And so these steps that I'm going to be talking about today are things that you need to put in place right now and start to look at and evaluate to get yourself on the right track and get in control of your money. Now, obviously, your income is going to be the driving factor in that thing that's really going to push our wealth, but we really want to be in control of what we're doing. So these steps kind of revolve around each other and all are intertwined. And you'll see that very quickly as I go through these 4 pillars. And so the first step here is going to be pay off your bad debts. And by bad debts, I'm talking about your credit card debt and any payday loan spending that you have. Get rid of these and pay these off as fast and as aggressively as possible. And the reason is because if you just look at your credit card debt, credit card interest is anything north of basically 19.99%, and that is quite high. And there's really nothing out there that can guarantee a 20+% return on investment that would make having this kind of credit card debt worthwhile. And an alarming rate is something like 30% or more of people in North America are in some form of credit card debt, and that is not good because, as we said, credit card debt is very high, and once you kind of get yourself into credit card debt, it's hard to get out of because of that high interest rate. So if you find yourself in some sort of credit card debt, I encourage you to pay that off as quickly as you can. The other thing, obviously, is these payday loans, and these things can charge interest even higher than 20%, some 50, some to 100%. I saw an article the other day that was absolutely crazy. I'm not sure if it's true, but saying during this whole pandemic that some of these loan lenders are having interest rates north of 700%. Like, that's astronomical. Okay. Like that's comical, and there's no way that makes any sort of sense. So avoid these things like the plague. Avoid them at all costs. You do not want to get into debt from these payday loan lenders. They are not your friend. This quick cash is not what you need, okay? Ask for it from your family. Ask it from your friends. Something else, but do not go to these payday lenders, please. Okay, Now, there's other forms of debt. A lot of people will have some sort of car loan, a mortgage, things of those natures, but those interest rates are much lower at around 5%, and that's a lot more manageable. If you do have a car loan, like a lot of used cars have some higher interest rates, and if it's north of 5%, then I would also kind of put that in the category of trying to pay that off as quickly as you can. But some of these things that we do take on debt for are normal, but credit card debt and payday loan debt do not fit in that category. Okay, so that's going to bring us to step 2, and step 2 is going to be create a budget and live below our means. And so living below our means is kind of defined by lowering your expenses, so that way the income that you're bringing in is more than what you're spending on a monthly basis, okay? And that's where the budget comes in. The budget is where every dollar that we have or that we're earning in that month is being accounted for, whether that's going to saving, whether that's going to spending, or whether that's going to something else. We have control of where our money's going. Now, oftentimes in the expenses, we have our income that we're bringing in, and then we have the essential things that we need to pay for. And so for us millennials, you might have rent, you might have your cell phone bill, your groceries, things of that nature, where you're going to have a set number basically of how much money you're spending on these things. Insurance is another thing as well. And then you have those other things in your expenses that are more discretionary, things like going out to the movies or going out to a restaurant, things of that nature. And those are aspects where you can look at potentially cutting down on and saving money that way. Okay, like for instance, as someone who goes to work every day and you might buy a lunch every day, that could cost you anywhere between $10 and $20 a day. And, that might not seem like a lot, but when you times that by 5 days a week and, 50 weeks in the year, that really does add up. And you could save a lot of money by buying groceries and making yourself a lunch. You could save yourself like $4,000 a year doing so and using that money to do something else, like go on vacation or something that you are dreaming of, rather than sitting at the cafeteria with your $10 lunch dreaming of going on vacation. Pack yourself a sandwich, save up that money, and actually go. So with the budget, there's really only 2 ways that you can have more money at the end of the budget, and that's either you bring in more money at the beginning or you lessen your expenses. And it's much easier to lessen your expenses than bring in more money. You either need to work hard and get yourself a raise, and that only comes periodically, or you need to take on a separate job or a side hustle. And then if you do that, you lose out on the other asset that you might have, which is your time, right? You're spending more time earning the money, less time having free time to actually spend that money on things that you enjoy, or getting rest that you will need when you're working so hard. So building that budget is important, and trying to limit your expenses goes hand in hand with that, because when you have a budget, you understand how much money you have to spend in the month. And when you go over it, that's kind of when you end up putting things on the credit card and not being able to pay off that credit card bill at the end of the month, and then you fall into credit card debt, and then we're back to stage 1. So putting that budget in place really controls how much we're spending, so that we don't spend more than we have. A lot of people say, oh, if I just had more money, if I won the lottery, I would be fine. But typically what happens is when people earn more money, they end up spending more money as well. So like how much they keep doesn't really change. So when it comes to being in control of your finances and generating wealth and being financially free, it's not actually how much you make, it's how much you're keeping. Okay? And that's going to put us into Step number 3, and this is have some type of emergency account, okay? An emergency account is some type of cash account, probably in an interest-bearing bank account somewhere, or if you want under your mattress, in cash. But this is money that you have set aside for obviously an emergency. And the typical idea is you want to have between 2 and 6 months worth of expenses in that emergency fund. And this is obviously, if an emergency happens and you need money ASAP, this is where you're going to pull that money from. And obviously, from what we've seen in 2020 so far, having a pretty good emergency fund is proving to be very useful for a lot of people who have been laid off. Those who do not have an emergency fund are stuck relying on, these emergency funds, these bailouts from our governments, and that creates a lot of stress. But if you do have money set aside to cover your expenses for a few months, you have more breathing room. And the typical idea, again, is between 2 and 6 months. Everyone's going to look different, and based on your lifestyle and what you feel comfortable with putting aside, is going to be all dependent on you personally. And again, this is important to have that cash because say something comes up, say your car breaks down and you need $5,000 to fix the car. If you don't have that in cash sitting there ready to pay, and you have it invested, or you have it in real estate or in stocks and bonds, that's not going to be ideal, because some of these things you're not able to access that cash right away. Or if you have it in a stock, the stock could be down at the time you need the cash when you have to sell the stock, and you're essentially losing money on that sale because you need the cash now instead of down the road when you were originally expecting to pull that money out. So it's really wise to have a decent amount of cash on hand for these instances rather than having it locked up somewhere. And the ability to get cash quickly from your investments is called liquidity. And so you do want to have some liquid funds on hold, and preferably in some sort of interest account where you can earn between 1 to 2.5% interest on this money anyway. So you are earning a little bit of interest on this savings while you just kind of have it there for a rainy day. And so now this brings us to our 4th step. So we have eliminated our bad debt. We've paid off our credit cards. We have a budget now in place. We are living below our means. We have our emergency fund saved up. What are we doing now? This is the fun part, and this is investing. Okay, this is where we use our money to make more money rather than going out and earning money. This is, we're putting our money into some sort of investment in the hopes of getting more money in return. Now, by definition, an investment is putting your money into a resource or asset in hopes to get more money at some point in the future. Okay, and that's kind of my layman's Nick's definition there. But you're putting it into some type of investment in hopes of getting more money in return at a later date. And that's what we're doing, obviously, for investing. You're saving for the long term. And there's many different types of investments that you can look at. I'll name a few right now. There's stocks, there's bonds, there's mutual funds, there's real estate, there's investing in yourself through some sort of side hustle or small business so that you want to run yourself. But this is where you're going to potentially earn that money in your sleep, and you're going to be able to earn money at more of an increased rate than what you were before. And so this is where you really start to develop that financial freedom and generate wealth, because now you are debt free. Okay, you are saving a lot of money. So you have money coming in and you're not spending all of it, and the excess money is now going into investments to earn you more money. And the great thing would be, once you are earning more money and you're reducing your expenses, you have more money available to you to invest. And if you keep that up, the more money you're able to invest, the more money you have to potentially make. And that's always a good thing. And that's how you really start this domino effect of generating wealth. And that's everyone's goal. So the earlier you can start investing and you can start implementing these steps, the better off you'll be in the long term, in the short term. So the beauty thing about these steps as well is this is for anyone at any age. So if you're listening to this and you're, in your teens and you just got a student job, saving up for school, you want to be following these steps. And, if you're a millennial and you got your first job out of college, these are steps you also want to take care of as well. Or, if you're older, obviously, this will work as well. Everyone's situation is going to be different based on their circumstances and situations, but the pillars remain the same for everyone. So those are my 4 pillars. I'll repeat them again. One was pay off your debt. Next was have a budget and live below your means. The next one was save for an emergency fund. And number 4 was to invest. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you got value out of this video, please drop a like. I'd really appreciate it. Dropping a like and commenting also help with the algorithm of YouTube. And so if you found this valuable, chances are many other people out there will find it valuable. So liking it increases the chances that more people will be able to get access to this video and get this information. So I'd really appreciate that. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm Nick from Nick's Taxes, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for watching. Ciao.